Hello fellow map makers, welcome to another live map making session. I hope my sound is good, or my indicators are green, so I hope this is fine, but please let me know in the chat whether you can hear me and the connection is fine. Otherwise it doesn't make much sense to just continue talking. Nothing yet. Sound is good. Excellent. Kevin can hear me. That's good. Yes, Sue. I was kind of confused because you're always so quick and fast to reply. So if it just takes 1.5 seconds longer than usual, something seems to be amiss. All right, but we seem to be all good. Thank you very much. Excellent. My pleasure tonight to show you the latest Cartographers Annual. I've created some more hand-drawn floor plan dungeon symbols, so specifically outdoor symbols this time, and I want to show them off and do a little bit of map making with that. I'm Ralph Schemmann of Fantasy Software, and I'm showing you Campaign Cartographer and its tools and all the artwork that you can use to make your own maps. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Let people know, they'll happy to answer. I'll be happy to show stuff on screen if possible. And so that way we hopefully can all learn a little bit from the session. And if you do like our videos, do please give this video a like and perhaps a subscribe to our channel. That always helps us making the channel more visible. All right, so let's get going. I've got the example map from this month up on screen, and as you can see from that already, it's a lot about of outdoor stuff, trees and bushes and tents and things like that. And I'm wanna delve into that a little bit, but not exclusively. My idea is to create a little cave entrance with perhaps some hot springs, a little bit of water, and some of my new bubble textures, show them off. And that's the idea I have in mind for the map. I'm going to choose the map type dungeons, click next, and then here's the hand-drawn dungeon style. Is this still the same style as last month? It's just been updated, new symbols and new artwork that works within it. So no new template. I will just keep the hand-drawn dungeon template, and then I'm gonna create a fairly small map that we can finish here in tonight's hour quite easily. So I'm making 100 foot. Yeah, let's probably make it a little bit larger. Let's make it 150 by 120 size map in feet. And then I could change the background to something rocky or earth type here now, but I'm thinking I'm doing an outer map in the larger part of the area, so I'm going to keep the grass as the background, and I'm just going to click finished. And here I'm going to give the file name cave entrance, and here's my blank map to start from. Yeah, there's the first questions coming for CC4. I can't announce a date or anything yet, but thanks for your interest. Simon's planning to give a little bit more detail in December and post something on the blog about that. I'm pretty sure there's going to be something in the newsletter for December about CC4, and then we'll learn more as the next year starts. We'll keep you posted as soon as we know more. All right, so here's my sample map, and now we can. I'm thinking I want to have perhaps the left third be the cave entrance, or perhaps we can actually make it a little bit not vertical aligned, but a little of the diagonal rock face and cave entrance. So I'm going to start off by just putting in some rock background or stone background as the outline where I want my cave to be. So I'm going to go in all drawing tools, dungeons, button, and I'm gonna go to terrain. We've got the rock, and I'm going to go for the default stone terrain here. And so I'm just thinking diagonal entrance. So let's do that here. This is going to be roughly my rock face. Oh, and I forgot to adjust to click outside the map border here, so it is attached to the map border. And what I can do is just enter another couple points. Use F9 to put them there on the corner, and that way we are aligned straight to the map edge. So what I'm thinking, I don't want the soft border here. I want this to be a stronger edge between the two textures, and this is actually on the floor sheet. So what I'm gonna, or is it? No, it should be on the outside. Yeah, it's on the outside sheet because I use the terrain drawing tool. These go all on the outside sheet. I'm just going to put this on the background, so I do have both the green and the gray on the same sheet, and then I'll have no sheet effect here on the border between the two. So I'm going to right-click the Sheets and Effects button, select Move to Sheet, click the edge of my texture, press D for Do It, and put it on the background sheet. There we go. And now I do have my two different backgrounds, one for the cave area and then one for the outside. Ah yes, so thanks everyone. For once I've forgotten the mouse highlight again. Let's turn that on. Here we are, and that should make it easier to see where I click. Okay, so next off, let's have a look at the cave drawing tools. And I've got the cave with the walls here, and that's what I'm going to use first. And I'm just going to build a little bit of a natural cave system layout. So a few tunnels leading off, and then I'm gonna have the cave entrance, perhaps two different entrances, actually one wider one and a smaller one. There's my general cave entrance, and I'm gonna work with this here in a little bit. This is a bit of a weird thing what's happened here. Oh, that's probably from the interaction between the background and this one, but I do want to break the wall at these spaces anyway, because these are supposed to be the entrances. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna hide everything but the wall sheet, and then I'm just going to put a break in the wall from here to here and from here to here. Yeah, and then I'm going to show everything again. Still got this strange overlay here between these two. Let's have a quick look whether that's fixed if I move the... Yes, it's the interplay of the cave background and the layer of the gray background behind it. Yeah, so let's move that a little bit as well here. That way, get rid of the little black spaces. Okay, sound is fairly low. Okay, doesn't seem to be generally fine for me. I can have a look whether I can increase my sound a little bit. No, I'm at full strength here. So, okay. Not sure why it should be lower than usual. So I'm just gonna speak a little up again, or I need to go into the Windows settings, which I don't want to do right now. Okay, so all right, so here we are with the cave system, but I do want to do a little extra here and basically set the walls off more strongly from the background. And for that I'm going to build a wall outline or fill that shows the rock, and going to put it outside of my cave walls here. For that I do need to go into my wall drawing tools, cave walls, on my walls, here we are. Here's the wall background. Okay, sure how I've set this up here at the moment, but I do not want a smooth polygon for that. So let's have a quick look on the wall background with my rock here. This is the one I want. We do have our own sheet wall background. That's fine. That's great. I just need to, on the options, make this straight because I want to follow the cave walls. I do need a straight tool. So let's go wall background tool there, and then I'm gonna build this here. I'm gonna follow my rock face here, and then I'm going to use the trace function. I'm going to hit T, click on the wall, start here, and then follow the cave wall all the way to here. There we go, and there I've got my first section, and there you can already see the effect. The bevel here on the wall, or the lighter glow, gives this a bit of a feeling of a 3D feeling, and that's what I was going for. That looks quite nice. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to start on the map edge, trace the cave wall all the way up to here, then attach to the map edge. Then we're going to do the same up here. Trace the wall here. Here we go. And this bit again, F9 to put the starting point on the map edge. T, click the cave wall, click our starting point, follow the cave edge all the way, then draw this section by hand. Just follow generally my rock face, and then right click to finish, and there we are. And then we do have a little section here. Do the same, T, trace, starting here, go all the way down to here, and then finish this. And there's my rock face. That's quite nice. So what I want to do next is my water. I'm imagining a little pool inside the cave, probably fed from one of the tunnels and then flowing outside and forming a stream that runs off. So we're gonna click on our water drawing tool, I'm going to start without the bubbles here. I'm just going to use the default water. And I'm going to make this the water flowing from this tunnel here. Then I'm going to leave some space, a little bit. Here's pools going outside here, following this a bit here. Might also be a bit of runoff here from this side tunnel. There we go. And then I'm just gonna draw this beyond the map border. And let's have a look if my sheet order is correct. No, it's not quite. See, my wall background is above the water. It's below the water. It should be above the water. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have a look here, and my water background move down. And I should be here. And there, that looks good. Now the walls cover the water here, background here, and it looks nice. All right, and then I'm gonna go in and do a 5-foot wide stream that runs from this pool off through the forest off the side of the map. And just because I can, I'll do a little bit of a side stream at just size 2 feet wide, running down here from the north edge of the map and connecting to the larger stream here. Quite happy with that. And now I want to show a couple of points where hot water is basically welling out from under the ground and filling, forming the pools. And for that I'm going to use my bubbles effect here, my bubbles texture. And I'm just gonna put this on top of the rest of the water here. There we go. And we might also put a spot here on the outside. Great. Now we yeah, we get a very strong effect here from the overlay of the two textures at certain zoom levels. That's because both the cave floor and the background behind it is the same gray, and because we've got a glow effect on this sheet here that can have some unfortunate interactions. But I'm thinking I might actually get rid of the outside roof gray here. I'm thinking I might just even not need it after I use it as the guideline for my background there. Or I can... No, I think it's quite okay. I wanted to set this off with a little bit some different symbols anyway. For example, I wanted to use the rock here and put this here at the edge of the cave entrance to show that. Yeah, and we can do a little bit of that here. Same here. The only thing I don't quite like is the transition from the cave floor to the green outside texture. It's too strong. Basically, we do have the dark glow on the inside of the floor, and we do need to put something on top of that, and I think for that some terrain would be great. So let's have a quick look. Oops, there we are. There, some of the green outside terrain. If you put that here on the transition, no, that does not work. And I know why it doesn't not work, because this is obviously on the floors sheet and the outside sheet is below that. So what I'm gonna do is I could just move the outside on top of that, but that might have repercussions later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new outside sheet and outside transition. Put that here. And then I'm going to grab the... I could just click this here directly. And now can do that and put the same edge fade effect I have on the outside sheet on the outside transition. That's too strong. Let's make that a lot smaller. There we are. And then we do have a better transition between the two terrain features. Here on the other entrance, the problem is not so strong because I've got the water there that covers that. Although here we do have a bit, again, because of the transition, get the effects. Let's make that smaller still. There we go. And I think the main thing, no, inner opacity is 100%, that is fine. All right, so much for that. There's the transition from the green outside to the cave entrance. All right, so much for that. We've got the general layout of our terrain down with the rock face and the caves and the water flow. Now for some symbol work. So let's have a quick look in our vegetation catalog. I'm stuck on the zoom command, that's why it didn't work on the first click. Here we are. And we've got a lot of more bushes and trees and tree stumps and other outdoor symbols in the new set. And I do want to put a little camp on there. I've got some tents here in the skirmish, in the weapons catalog, and it's also, I think, in the caves catalog. I've put them in several places. So I do want to make someone's made a camp there at the edge of the pool. Let's put the tent there. And then we do have a campfire. Can you choose between a cold one or actually lit fire? I'm going to use the lit fire here. Put that in front of the camp. And then perhaps a second smaller tent there as well. Go. Not quite so happy here with my transition between the stream and the pool. I'm going to move that a little bit. If I can hit the end point, there's the end point. Move it further inside so I get a better corners here. There we go. Let's go back to the vegetation. And let's put some bushes down at the edge of the pool. So these are all set up as randomized symbols, so each gives you a different one from a selection of different symbols. And they get rotated and scaled a little bit as well as you place them down. So they will build nicely. Varied selection of vegetation as you place them. So there's some bushes growing around the pool. Then I want some trees. I'm going to grab a tree symbol here. you can see these go on their own sheet automatically, symbols tree, so they cast a longer shadow. Big tree here, and some pine trees. There we go. And then you can also build some undergrowth with our weed symbols here. I like to put some bloom, some flowers in them there as the in the base version, but you can always switch to a varicolor version to make them do them without the color in there. So we just want some greenery. I'm just gonna grab the wheat here, and these go on symbols flat by default because they are so small that they won't cast a shadow, visible one at least here on the map, and it has the nice side effect that they are automatically below all the other symbols when you place them. So just some green ones, and then I'm just grab some colored ones to intersperse them with the rest. I should probably do a varicolor version with the flowers, a varicolor version as well. Might do that at some point. I've got the comment there from Vivian that the shadows on the tents looks a little bit flat. Yes, perhaps it's the general shadow of symbols is fairly small. So what we can do is we can perhaps increase that a little bit. So if we go to symbols, directional, let's make them 1 foot wide. Works on the bushes as well, of course. And then we'll probably also need to increase the size of the tree shadows a little bit, not quite as much. Let's make that 3.5 and do them as drop shadows. There we are. That looks that way. The shadows are a little bit more visible from farther away, which makes for a nicer look on screen. Alright, so we've got that, and I do want to build a path that's leading towards the camp here. I'm coming along the stream, so I'm gonna have a look here. I've got the path set up to be drawn as in with the current line width, so this is just going to be one very narrow line. To make it sensibly large, we're going to have to put in a line width, so 4 foot wide. It's perhaps make also 5 foot wide, and let's build that here. And refresh, you can see that it just remains a fairly soft impression by just darkening the area a little bit. We could, of course, if we wanted to build this as a earthen path, so it's used often enough that the vegetation is actually being worn away. And let's do a new drawing tool for that. So let's gonna go click advanced, go darker path, go into earth path. The dirt path is the better name. And then we're just going to change the fill style to earth. Use color, just not going to show, it's just for convenience so that I can select it more easily. Again, that's the zero width, which I didn't change before. But what I'm just going to do is I'm going to use this path and change the fill style in there, because I don't want both of them, obviously. Go. And now I'm thinking it's on outside shading. That's because it was just the darkening before. So it should probably go on outside of the sheet. And that way it's a bit more visible. And our new drawing tool that we just created should also be on the outside sheet. Just for future use, so I can replicate the path, the earthen path more easily. And I also want to pick out the camping area a bit with the earth. There we are. All right. So much for that. Now let's build up the woods a little bit. I'm thinking it's a forest area, so lots of trees. So let's gonna pick up our trees and just scatter trees around this area. I don't want to cover it completely, but the majority of the area. Go. Then we could put some bushes underneath them, also here along the rock face. Probably some bushes growing there. Go. And then I'm still thinking this is a little bit, I find the bright green a bit too strong a contrast with the trees. So, and what we've got for the with the December annual is some leaf scatter. So you've got to train leaves in green, brown, or just as outlines. So I'm going to use the summer version. And I'm just going to draw this here. Underneath the trees. And this way you see you've got the little tree symbols, twigs and stuff showing up on above the grass. Let's complete this here on the other side. And let's build some bit of forest. Probably do some more detailed work if I was not just doing this in a 1 hour session. But here I'm just mostly concerned about finish this, and I want to do a little bit of stuff in the caves as well. So let's do the forest fairly quickly. Go. Could of course set up a drawing tool to do this tree scatter myself, but it's quick enough here that I don't need a drawing tool for that, and I don't want to fill that large areas just with these tree symbols as well. So that's why I've not bothered setting up a drawing tool for that. This would just get too boring for a map and not very useful if you just fill the whole big area with trees like this. Better to do some manual scattering and special locations and features in the map. There we go. So now I'm thinking I could need a little bit of darker outline, of wetter ground around the pool and some areas of the forest. So I'm gonna go here, and I've got a swamp symbol, but I don't want to do a swamp. I've got the bubbles already in my hot water areas, so I'm just gonna go for the dark grass here, and I'm just gonna draw this a little bit along the stream here on the northern edge. Gonna draw across the water, refresh, and there you can see the darkening on the edge of the water. And then I do want to do the leaf scatter as well. So I'm gonna, on this side of the stream, so I'm gonna pick the summer leaves again. And again, I'm not gonna go across the water, though it should be below the water fill, but I want a little edge where I don't have that much scatter along the edge of the stream. Sets it off a little bit more nicely. There we go. And then here along that edge, there we are. I do want a bit more darker outline on the further edge of the stream here. There we go. And then I'm thinking I want a little bit more detail here on this little meadow on the edge of the pool. So I'm going to put in a little fairy ring, basically mushrooms growing in a circle. Here we go. Then I'm gonna go for gonna do a fallen tree here. Tree log. Then some weeds again along the edge. Again, I want to go for some just green things. Bigger patch, and then some individual plants. Go. Then let's do a little bit of firewood. It's been collected here. And perhaps someone's left an axe here, though perhaps not a war axe, but a tool. There's my large axe. Let's do the small one. Put it on top of the wood pile. Yeah, quite happy with that. Alright, one thing I've also got in the new symbols is some gas clouds. There we go. And we can do these as a basically steam from the hot springs. So let's make it quite hot inside. Let's do them white. Do a large gas cloud here. Put that on top of my bubbles. See, it's got a bit of a transparency built in, so you can see stuff through that. And then I want to do a little bit more things inside the cave. So let's have a look what we've got cave-wise. We've got some rock scatter that we can put on. Set to normal first. Again, let's have a quick look on the order of things. Symbols flat are below the walls, which is nice, so that means I can overlap that and have these half hidden between the walls. Yeah, that works. And I think I also have a little bit of a fill for the rocks. Terrain rocks, here we are. And let's just draw that, though they'll probably go below the cavern floor, but we can change that. Let's have a quick look. Outside scatter is below the floor, but I think I can safely just move that above the floor sheet. Go. Yep, that works. See, that way we don't have to scatter all these individual rocks around. But I do have a bit of problem here again with the overlap between the different sheets. Outside scatter doesn't have any effects, but it does interact with the wall here. Okay, I think we need to do a little bit of the wall's background sheet here and decrease that, or get rid of that edge fade effect. Yeah, that way we do have the strong edge here. But I think I'm happier with this way here at the moment. Yeah. That way I'm avoiding all the overlap effects between the different sheets. Some more rocks. Here we are. And then I'm thinking something may put in a warning about this cave entrance here on these hot springs. Perhaps something's considering this as sacred, and so put a little bit of a warning in the inside of the entrance. Let's put some nice skulls on pikes here along the edge of the stream. Go. There we are. And what else might we put in here? We can put something has died in these hot waters here. So we could put in a skeleton in the water. Do we have the water as a little bit of transparency? No, I don't think so. Let's give it that a try. Let's put a little bit of transparency in there. Just 80% transparency on the water. And put in an add symbol. Symbols underwater sheet. See how this looks. See the difference now between the outside water and the inside water, because the different textures show through the little transparency. I think it looks quite okay. Let's make this monster a bit larger. And it's there, nicely showing through the water, like that. That's fine. Great. And perhaps also someone fought against this with a broken shield and a broken sword lying underneath the water. Perhaps someone needs to retrieve that sword or that shield. Oh, actually, yes, let's not do a broken sword in there, but instead let's go for a magic sword. Got a magic sword here in there. It lies there underwater. And that might be the aim of a treasure hunt. All right. We are. And else we can put in the cave, or anything with the magic stuff, or the pool and the well. No, that's fine, I guess. Containers and treasure, perhaps some treasure in there. No, the treasure is our magic sword. We don't need any further treasure. Any traps? No, we're quite good. It's more the natural hazard. I think we're fine with that. So let's just do a little bit of, let's put in a grid. This might be a handy map for a little, if you print it large enough for some work with miniatures. So let's put, use black as the color, draw X or square overlay, do a 5-foot grid, no labels, apply, turn on the grid points, go. It does look a bit here strong on the zoom out in on screen. It's probably going to be fine printing, but I'm for this purposes here of the map, I'm gonna undo the glow here, so I've got just the fine line. That way the grid doesn't appear quite as strong. And then let's go for a scale bar. Oops. Set normal, that would be 100 feet. That is too much for our, that's, oops, 0.2. How much is 20 feet here on screen? Let's do 25. Do 25. Gonna put the scale bar down here. And it's 25 feet. And the compass rose just on top of here, that here. Fits nicely. And then we could go in and do a little bit of a few labels on the map. Let's have a quick look. Let's see how the map title looks. So let's call this the Hot Springs Cave. Looks good. Just move it around a bit so it's in a space. Doesn't obstruct anything. Let's see. It's actually, I think the text is actually set up to be on white in here. Yes, we do need to make the text a little something not quite black, otherwise we do get the interactions with the symbols outline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this as normal text in white. Hot Springs Cave. This way I can also directly align it top right. There we are. And I probably want the text to be above the grid. So let's move the grid up so it's below the cartouches and the text. As Sue says, and she's absolutely right, it looks better without the grid. It will almost always look better without a grid on screen. The grid is a functional thing if you want it for your games. So for the screen I can turn the grid off. There we are. And I wanted to change the text outline. Not straight black, but a dark gray. And we might want to make it a little bit wider, perhaps. There we go. That's my hot springs cave. And if I want to put in some labels on the map, let's call this the Treasure Hunters Camp. Center. Actually, I want to make this multi-line. Drag prior. There we are. And the remains of the duel, not this hidden underwater there. Actually, make this a little bit smaller. Let's have a look what my current text size is at this size. I think we can make the smaller label size 2. So let's going to do change text properties by entity type to the text, not our title. Make it height 2. Move the Treasure Hunters Camp title off from the tent. Put it there. It looks better. Alright, and from there we can do a few more labels. Let's go put it. Hot spring and copy prior. Put this on the places where actually the hot water is welling up. Yeah. Okay, these should actually be on a different symbols layer because these are hidden behind the cave walls. I did want to show them in front of that, so what I'm going to do is going to move sheet. Select the symbols here. Do it and put that on just symbols low. I think it went on symbols flat by mistake. Oops, that must be. There we go. That's how I wanted them to show. That's looking nice. I think we're gonna do it with these things as well. Not that it makes a difference from where they are placed, but just so it's all the same. Symbols low. There we are. And there's our hot springs cave, and I'm pretty happy with it, how it turned out for an hour of mapping. Certainly there could be a lot more symbols, or always a dungeon style. You can think of many different things to put in there. Perhaps next year I'll do some free monthly symbols with this style to give it a bit more variety. Okay, Wizard has the comment that it looks to him like the water is flowing into the cave instead of out of it. Okay. No, that's... Oh yeah, studio's disconnected. All right.